we welcome you back to Curtis Granderson Stadium here on the campus of the University of Illinois at Chicago. It's game 2 of 6 on the day from this ballpark and here on the Windy City Sports Network. Kevin Malater here with Ryan Sikora. It's the Reds Nike RBI and Twins Nike RBI. The lone 2-0 teams remaining on the 18U baseball side, Ryan. We're set for a fun 2 hours of baseball.
Yeah, battle for the top spot. Who doesn't love that early morning on a Saturday?
And we're underway a little bit early due to Indy dumping Kansas City in the first game this morning. Happy to have you along as the 0-1 pitch is swung on and missed by the leadoff hitter and Fred Myers. He's in left field today.
Yeah, we saw that Indy looked pretty good those first couple of games. They looked right on the cusp of something, and they kind of unloaded all the trauma from day one onto Kansas City.
And Myers goes down on strikes. And that's a quick 3-pitch punch out there for Cameron Roselle, the pitcher for Cincinnati.
What's fun here, right? These are the two best teams that we've seen so far. The two best teams we saw yesterday. The only two teams to be 2-0 after the first 2 days of pool play. Part of that is because Cubs and Sox got a tie on day one, but this is a battle for the top spot. I expect Cincinnati to come out, be the better team. How much longer can Minnesota find and hang on to this momentum?
And meanwhile, that is going to be a hit-by-pitch of Peter Dalma. At least in the lineup card, Dalma is listed as number 12, but we'll wait to see.
It's been the case the last 2 days.
Meanwhile, here's Aiden Walsh. Walsh was the big walk-off hero, and he grounds this one up the middle. Collier, the shortstop, throws it away and in the shallow right field. Runner will be held at third. They're on the corners for Minnesota here with one gone.
That's silly from Collier. You've got the easy out at first to go get Walsh, and you've got Dalma, who's never going to get past second no matter where he throws it, and he just tries to flip one over to Lomax, throws it away.
So James Cray will come on up. He's the first baseman. Walsh on first. I believe that's Dalma on third. Popped him up, right side out of play. And we have some confirmation that it is Peter Dalma on third base. So he's wearing a different jersey number than listed originally.
Yeah, and I mean, again, first 2 games yesterday, he also wore 44. We were just as confused there. Thought he might switch it up and go back to the number he's supposed to today, but kind of like the 44.
He's had a couple of good performances. And his team, and maybe it might be one of those things where he wanted to change, but you know what? We're 2-0. Why change things up?
I mean, his team top to bottom have been so much better than expected. It's been fun to watch.
Runner breaks as the pitch is called a strike, and Walsh slides into second base easily. And that's something we saw often yesterday, those Twins taking that extra 90 feet with the stolen base.
Yeah, we saw Indy do it today as well. The aggressive team has won out more often than not every game in this 18U bracket, as there's another little hit on the small of the bat.
So 2 hit-by pitches in the inning for Roselle, and now they're loaded for Minnesota with a chance to strike first.
We saw such great pitching performances yesterday from Cincinnati. Collier was awesome in relief the other day. We saw some good stuff from Sitter.
First pitch is a strike to the third baseman tonight for Minnesota. That is Eric Kane.
We'll see if Roselle, who has not lived up to those pitching expectations his team has put on him early, can settle in here.
Ground ball, weakly hit. Sanchez bobbles the ball. His only plays at first, and he throws it away. 2 runs will score as this ball caroms off the sidewall, and Minnesota takes an early 2-0 lead.
And that's the worst possible start you can imagine for Cincinnati. That's awesome, though, for Minnesota. We wondered if they could keep it up, and they were playing a better team than they got yesterday. They beat Indy in a good one. They just were so much better than some of the opposition. They were so much more clean. They were more advantageous. That aggression still coming out in this one. But Cincinnati was a step up. It represented the next step they have to take as a club. And if you can start off with a lead with a couple of fortuitous bounces and some bad throws on your opposition, it's going to help you later on in this game. 2 runs in the first inning, always important in a contest like this.
The rest of the lineup, by the way, it'll be Ezra Kuznia, followed by Noah Jeffrey in second base, Jonas Sadowski, and it'll be rounded out by the catcher, Alexander Lensmeyer. So Kuznia comes up. Big spot here early on. And he lines this one, a shallow right center and down for a base hit. 1 run in to score. They will hold the second run in Kane at third. And Kuznia comes through, make it 3-0, Twins Nike RBI.
What a perfect start. You can't ask for anything better if you're Steve Winfield.
Shut it down here.
You probably won't get anything better if you're Steve Winfield. This is just ideal for Minnesota.
Strike there as Kuznia takes second base.
If you're the Twins, as many runs as you can get in this inning. We know Cincinnati's got pop to the bat. They'll know that too. They've been able to watch both of the Reds' games so far.
Jeffrey bats from the left side. 2 in scoring position as he taps this one weakly to short. Collier, close play, but he's out at first. Run comes in to score. It's 4-0 Twins. Give Jeffrey the RBI.
And this time the shortstop Collier makes the right decision. Just doesn't play with it and goes straight on to first. And Noah Jeffrey does his job. Move the line and drive in a run. 4 in the first for Minnesota.
They just keep on rolling in this tournament. You look at yesterday afternoon and early evening, a 4-run first inning for them, followed by a 5-run second inning. Here, 4 across, 2 gone. It's Jonas Sadowski. Off the corner, and it's a 2-0 count. The only base runner is Kuznia, who's on third. Roselle fires. There's a strike, and it's 2-1. We've seen Sadowski on the corner outfield spots in this tournament. And he grounds this one to second. Lomax gobbles it up and ends the inning. So we're through half an inning. Minnesota strikes first, and they strike often in this inning. 4-0 here on the Windy City Sports Network. 4-0 Minnesota Twins Nike RBI on top. Kevin Blader, Ryan Score, and Ryan. I think both of us are in a state of shock right now, not by how good Minnesota's playing, but the fact that they're already up 4-0 here in the top of the first inning is completed.
Yeah, and we haven't gotten a chance to see Cincinnati bat yet, which they will here, but that was as surprising of a first inning as we've encountered here, and we've seen an inning where a ton of runs have come to the plate, 8. We've seen an inning where Minnesota surprised us before, and that was a lot of Cincinnati mistakes. Maybe still waking up. They should be perfectly primed for this kind of game, but I don't know. Too many mistakes from Cincinnati, and credit to Minnesota. Take advantage of those when you see them.
The Cincinnati lineup sees Roybert Gonzalez, followed up. It's fouled off by Avery Battle. Noah Collier has the 1-2-3. Manuel Sanchez, Connor Sitter, Isaiah Hill has the 4-5-6, and the lineup rounds out with Dalen Jarman, Evan Grammel, and Nate Lomax. Up against the right-handed pitcher in Peter Dalma, as this one is caught on a line at short by Aiden Walsh. So an L6 starts out the game for Dalma, a guy who was on this Twins Nike RBI team a summer ago, Ryan. One of the few players on this roster with experience, and he's shown that veteran leadership.
It's important that he can get going today. All these older guys from Minnesota that have been here should start strong, should play well, and should not be scared of this moment. That 2-0 start should only spur them on even more.
So that'll see a 0-1 count here to Avery Battle, the left fielder. Battle, speed has been on display as he sends this ball in the air to right center. Long run for Sadowski, and it's over his head and will roll to the wall. Battle on his way for third. They're going to try it. The relay is not in time, and he slides in with a triple. Avery Battle has another extra base hit this weekend.
All right, Avery, that's the way to get going. 1 out, your leadoff guy goes quickly, and we knew Roybert Gonzalez was going to do that. Battle swings on one of the early ones he sees, lifts one out there. Right field is so far away. We're seeing all kinds of balls that get to that wall be turned into triples and inside the park home runs. That's the spot to hit it. And with Cincinnati, they've got a lot of lefties that can pull it out there and have a lot of success. Collier's another one up right now.
So Noah Collier's the shortstop. He's trying to make up for a throwing error in the top half of this inning, which allowed several Twins runners to come around the score. One ball count. We even it out. The defense behind Dalma sees Myers, Kuznia, and Sadowski in the outfield from left to right. The left side of the infield is Kane and Walsh. The right side is Jeffrey and Cray. That is from third to first in that order. And Linesmeyer is behind the dish. Once again, he's been really good defensively back there so far for those first 2 games, Ryan.
Strong, and that's all you can ask for from these kinds of guys. If you can get through day 1 with a complete day, that gives you a good start. Now it's about doing the same thing here on day 2 for everybody.
Ball 1. Good breaking ball, just missed time. Two and 1, Cincinnati looking to respond after giving up a 4 spot on the top of the first. They have Battle on third. As this pitch is grounded to second base, we'll get the job done. Jeffrey to first. 2 gone in the inning. Give Collier an RBI for that ground out.
That's all Avery Battle, though. A nice triple, 1 out away. It's easy as a team to kind of fold after that opening guy goes down, and just got to keep fighting. You don't have to get everything back now if you're Cincinnati. You got to play good defense the rest of the way, and you can just slowly claw it back against Minnesota, kind of like what they did against the Royals yesterday morning.
Go, Manny.
So Manuel Sanchez comes on up. That one is down and away, ball 1.
And Sanchez is the 4th guy in this front 5 that is really, really good. You go from Gonzalez to Collier. Battle is in there at the 2 spot that just scored. And then Sitter's on deck here. It's a really good group.
This ball sent in the air to deep left center field. Myers turns, it's over his head, and this one will roll all the way to the wall. Sanchez will be held at second base with a 2-out double. And the Reds Nike RBI side aren't going away yet here in the first.
It's just a lot of pop. Just a lot of pop. Battles sounded great to right center. Sanchez has sounded really good to left center. I mean, we haven't seen something get out of the park yet. We almost saw one go today. It was about 15 feet foul down the left field line in the first game. But I think if any team's going to get enough room to push one out, and enough power behind the ball to push one out of here, it's probably going to be Cincinnati. They've got so much strength at the plate.
And you talked about this front five as Connor Sitter comes up as the DH in the 5-hole. Dalma deals. First pitch breaking ball misses. Ryan, how do you think, because you've always talked so highly of this front five in this Cincinnati lineup, how do they stack up with other front fives that you've got a chance to watch in this tournament?
I think they're the best. I haven't seen Sox ace. I saw a little bit of the Cubs group yesterday. They were slow. I think they spread it around a little bit more in the game I watched last night against Detroit, and that was fun to watch, to get production 1 through 9, which I do think is more important than getting 4 or 5 guys at the top that are really, really good and not having anything on the backside. I think Cincinnati have the help on the backside, but their 1 through 5 is the best I've seen so far.
There's a strike from Dalma to Sitter. Sitter was the starter in the second Cincinnati game yesterday.
And I think Minnesota, going back to that first 5, can lay a claim to that, but a lot of their stuff has been against 2 lower teams, and at least we think. And I guess, to be fair, Cincinnati have played those 2 same clubs, but Cincinnati's been more effective in that. And Minnesota have a lot. I think they're more complete 1 through 9 than they are a front-loaded top 5. I think Cincinnati, again, I can't wait to watch White Sox ace, as well as the Guardians team as well. They got a good win last night against a Detroit team that we found out pretty quickly is pretty competitive. So I want to see those 2 clubs, and then I'll have the final decision there. But, yeah, Cincinnati's as good as any.
Dalma hops off the mound and will end the inning. Cincinnati gets on the board, but we are through 1 here on the Windy City Sports Network. 4-1. Twins Nike RBI on top. We're back inside Curtis Granderson Stadium. 4-1 is the score with the Twins on top. And Alex Lensmeyer takes strike 1 to get the inning going. It's 9 in the top of the order for this Twins side. And the consistent but yet dangerous top of the order is up next for this twin side after Lensmeyer's AB.
And again, those 4 runs in the first get them this far down the lineup, and that's the part of it that's like, hey, if you can get something like this, go small ball, see if you can out-hustle it, and he
Safe
does.
at first. Wow, close play there, but Lensmeyer gets the benefit of the doubt and is aboard for leadoff bunt single.
Bang, bang, but I guess tie goes to the runner? That seemed more out than safe in my opinion, but regardless, the courtesy runner comes in for Lensmeyer, and
Roosevelt Barnes is going to go out there and ask probably that question to our infield umpire.
And again, we talked about this yesterday a little bit. Without real video replay, no ability for a coach to challenge at this level, these conversations, and unless they overturn it here, I might be corrected, but some of these conversations are as much about the next call and making sure, hey, make sure we're getting ours out here as it is about this one as well.
The umpire crew donning the pink today on the 3rd day of the tournament.
Better than the white. Even though the white was really, again, the white was a really good looking color, and I think the pink is too. I'm still not a fan of anything that's not the powder blues or the black or gray.
So they uphold the call at first base. The top of the order comes up with a man on.
It is a really good color, though.
Fred Myers comes up with Lensmeyer's courtesy runner and Will Shirley on the move, and he is out at second base. That might be your makeup call right there.
So that one looked like it was safe. It looked like he slid right underneath the tag of Collier. He didn't get the best jump, and the bounce was perfect from the catcher, Cromell. It bounced right up and in. All around, kind of confusing, in my opinion. Like, again, it looked like he was out at first. It looked like he was safe at second. And they just go and flip it. And I guess you get the same result in the end, but I don't know.
Two and two now as Myers goes chasing. Three and two now. Myers struck out to lead off the ball game before the offensive onslaught began for Minnesota. And he goes down looking on a fastball.
That's the perfect pitch from Roselle. And Myers can only stare at it, and he thought he had a walk, but from up here, it looked like it just nicked the bottom of the strike zone.
First pitch swinging as Peter Dalma. And it's an unconventional 3-up, 3-down inning for Roselle and the Reds Nike RBI team. So we're for an inning and a half. It's 4-1, Minnesota on top. Bottom two, score remains the same with Hill, Jarman, and Grammel leading off the inning for Cincinnati Reds Nike RBI. Gavin Malater with you alongside Ryan Sikora, the second of 6 for us here on WCSN 1 today on the baseball side of things.
It's a lot.
How you feeling so far?
I mean, I just did play-by-play for game 1, so I'm up for it. I'm ready.
That's a ground out to short off the bat of Isaiah Hill. One quick out here in the second.
And as we'll lend you some insight here. So what usually happens is you get up for your game where you're talking more than the other guy, or you've got to stay locked in when you're doing the play-by-play. It's when you flip sides to the analyst stuff where you're pretty locked in for the first couple innings, and if it's a good game in the 5th and the 6th and the 7th, you're there. Those 3rd and 4th innings can get really, really dry and tired if you are an analyst and you're not as locked in, and sometimes we're not, admittedly, when you're doing 6 games a day and you're putting a lot of mental into the discussions in the game before where you're on the play-by-play side of things. It can get tricky, and right now I'm okay. I'm more awake than most are at this time of day. Out of the 4 people here today, I said it yesterday, I'll say it again, I'm probably the most awake right now. It's going to cost me on the back end.
It's always that mile reference you made yesterday where if you're the first one.
You never want to be first after 400 meters. I am consistently first after 400 meters. And let me tell you something right now. We went to bed last night. We went back to the house and sat down, tried to get some work done. I finished last in the mile. I was the first one asleep.
Down to Cray for the second out of the inning.
Dalma's doing a great job out there. He's making quick work of it. He's working through. He's doing a great job. He's an athlete. It's a couple times where he's gotten off the bump and made a play himself and done a great job.
The catcher Grammel comes up with 2 gone. Mind you, we also have some softball games going on the sister channel. That's WCSN 2. Fun day over on the campus of DePaul University in Chicago's Lincoln Park neighborhood. That's on the city's north side. Austin Kroom, Henry Dominy there for all of the softball action that occurs at the home of the Blue Demons.
You know, we love a good Big Tex and AC broadcast.
No balls, 2 strikes. Dalma fires. Down and away. That would have been a very quick inning for him.
Henry Dominy, a.k.a. Big Tex, a.k.a. Big Red. You know, he's big out here. He told me the other day he's been to Chicago 4 times. Can you believe it?
I cannot.
That looked like a strike.
Whoa.
Come on, Blue. Go over the plate. Middle of the plate.
That one just missed. Here comes the 2-2. Downstairs, and we go full. The iconic duo of Kroom and Dominy.
Yeah. Iconic in such a brief time. There's not a lot of longevity there. He started this week, and now he got it. That's the pitch. This is the same throw. He went a little more inside. Still froze him. That's fantastic from Dalma. That's the perfect response as well. He looks really good, Cav.
He really does. We're through 2. Dalma rolling. Same with Twins Nike RBI here on the Windy City Sports Network. top of the third inning, and the score remains the same at 4-1 in favor of Minnesota. And now see the shortstop, Aiden Walsh, lead off the inning, followed by James Cray and Eric Kane.
Both teams have settled in now.
And that's a base hit to left off the bat of Walsh. Good piece of hitting there. He found the ground in the 5-6 hole.
That's the perfect example of it. We saw it in the offensive end in the first inning for the Twins. They can get 4 runs, and then we all of a sudden saw Dalma, who was good enough in the first frame, come alive in the second. He was really strong, and he's giving his team now a comfort. There's a room to grow because now the game has settled down. They've got the lead. They understand that this isn't going to be some back-and-forth super contest. The Reds are going to have to work.
Safe at second, and Walsh with another steal. That's his second of the game.
It's what they do. It's what he did yesterday. I think he had 2 steals in each of the 2 games yesterday as well. There was a couple of times where he had 3. He stole first, he would steal second and then steal third. So this is the aggression that Minnesota provide on the path. They want to be the most aggressive team at this tournament.
Cray, who was hit by the pitch and later came across to score. Swings and misses to fall behind 0-2.
And I wonder, and I wish Austin was here in some respects as well, because he got to see a lot of Minnesota alongside you last year. Was it a team that was just as aggressive a year ago, that were just kind of making some of the mistakes that we talked about, like maybe that Kansas City has made this year, or is this a complete reinvention and maybe part of the reason they've flipped the script this year?
It's the latter.
Yeah?
It definitely is the latter in terms of just, well, for starters, they're getting guys on base, which obviously helps, because then the few times we did see that, they were trying to not run into those outs, because they got to points where once they got guys on base, for them at least it was a perspective of, okay, we're now by 8 runs, we can't afford to be running into outs in the base path, so they didn't even risk it. At least in 3 games we saw from it, 3 of the 4 games we saw from Minnesota last year.
Okay, and that's a good point I bring up there. I wonder if that was always what they would have hoped to do a year ago. They just didn't stick around in games long enough to try and put paper to grass.
2-2 pitch is a slider that misses down and away, and the count is full.
I think they're a really good ball club, Minnesota. And I think this is an indication that they can hang with the big guys. We'll see.
Got him looking. Ho, 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 ho. Roselle throws him with a front door changeup.
What's been the deal with the backwards Ks today? I feel like we didn't see any the first 2 days, and we've seen a couple in this one. We saw a bunch in the first one.
Get your strike 3 call in. They got to get the stretching in for that. There have been a lot of looking strikes, like you said. 3rd strikeout overall for Roselle. 2 of them now have been looking. So to your point, exactly. 1-0. This is popped up, and this will be way foul. What's the ideal Ryan Sikora strike 3 punch-out call look like?
So I'm a big fan of the subtle one. I like a little, you don't have to go all the way from right to left and act like you're punching the guy 2 feet away from you. Just give me a little jab. It's like maybe jab up and in with both arms.
On the ground at 3rd, Sanchez has to hurry. He makes the play. Walsh holds at second base as there's 2 gone.
That's fantastic corner infield work from Manu Sanchez to watch and stare down the runner at second for as long as he did, knowing he's got the cannon arm to fire across. He's deep enough or close enough to the infield turf that he has got plenty of time to make that throw. It's really good stuff.
So are you a fan of the John Tumpain, which just looks like the dagger motion?
I don't like the coming down. I can see it.
It's one of my favorite personally. Great man off the field as well. Noah Collier makes the catch. Ryan's going to practice his punch outs during the commercial break. 4-1 the score. Stay with us here on WCSN. 3. And the score is still 4-1. Kevin Miller. Ryan Sikora currently being trained on how to become an umpire and practicing his strike 3 motions right now. As Cincinnati has Nate Lomax in the top of the order due up here in inning number 3. Squares the bunt. He pulls it back and it's a ball. Lomax is the second baseman for the Cincinnati side. Ball 4. He walked on 4 pitches, and the leadoff man is aboard for Cincinnati. So here comes the top of the order for the second time. It's Roybert Gonzalez. Gonzalez lined out to short to begin the home half of the first. And as Ryan said earlier, he's probably not taking a whole lot of pitches. He's going to be attacking early, and he'll call time before he gets the first pitch from Dalma. Both these teams 2-0 coming into this one. First place on the line. And the number 1 seed, as there's a snap throw back to first. Safe there is Lomax. Now, depending on the results of the remainder of these games, this very well could be the championship game tomorrow. Lomax thought about it. It's blocked down by Lensmeyer. And so the runner remains at first, and the count goes to 2-0 in Gonzalez's favor. He did it again in terms of Lomax acting like he was going to steal. And there's a strike on a curveball to Gonzalez. Ball 1, popping up the bunt and fouling it off is Gonzalez, and it's 1-2. Boy, that was an interesting decision there. The runner going. He probably bunted a foul ball that was going to be up and out of the strike zone. Got him leaning, and he did not pick him off. Lomax got back in there just in the nick of time. And he's back. How'd the punch-out practice go?
All right, so I've determined that I think, for right-handed pitchers, so I'm going to lean here, and I think it's just going to be, your simple straight back with the right arm, give me a fist forward, feel real visible. Then the other one, I'm a big fan of the guys out there that decide not to make their calls visible for whatever reason. Like, it's stupid. Like, you're making an out call here and you're deciding to hide it from the world.
That one's lining to right center, a base hit. Lomax around third. It gets cut off by Kuznia on deep right center field. And so they'll be on the corners. A long single for Roybert Gonzalez.
And that was a great cutoff, man. Work there from Minnesota. And Roybert Gonzalez just gets hits. Swings, he's a chucker. We called him Prime Nick Young earlier. If he hits it, he hits it. If he doesn't, he doesn't. That's okay. It's great stuff to hold Lomax at third. And now you go runners to the corners, and this is what Cincinnati want out of this 9-1-2 stuff. Lomax gets on base. He's got the speed to get around. Gonzalez is going to get a hit, or if he doesn't, then you've got back-to-back lefties in Battle and Collier who can try and drive Lomax in. So it's really good strategic setup from Cincinnati as they try and claw themselves out of this contest.
Gonzalez gets his first hit of the day. And so Lomax, after the leadoff walk, makes it the first 2 men aboard here for the Minnesota Twins Nike IBR side defensively. If you're down now, how do you adjust?
You focus on the batter. I know that seems strange with a guy on first and a guy on third with nobody out, but it's get the next guy out. That's the only message is, what does Battle do well? What can we take advantage of? How can we exploit that? How can we figure that out? And I think Dalma has the stuff to do it. We saw that in the second inning, for instance, when he got out of, not really a jam, but he was getting great pitches. He was getting guys to stare at balls, and it's a pretty important opportunity, I think, for him here. And for Cincinnati, tying runs on deck or tying runs at the plate already, so you're trying to get some runs across the board. So Dalma, just go one-on-one, mano-a-mano.
Have him leading, and they picked him off.
Or do that.
So Gonzalez got a little too greedy out on the base paths, and Dalma and Cray connect for out number 1.
And that's one of those occasions where, like, again, I want him to go one-on-one with the guy at the plate. But if Roybert Gonzalez, who's not the quickest, not the most agile guy that you'd want on that first base, is giving you that kind of leadoff and giving you that kind of work, yeah, go get him, because you're going to get him. 9 out of 10 times, they're going to get a guy like Gonzalez when his leadoff is that heavy.
1-0 after the curveball misses the Battle. Tripled with 1 out in the first inning, his lone chance at the dish today.
Yeah, and he's really attacking the inside, the hands of Battle, because he knows that Battle's got the power to pull one out there after that last triple. He does not want him, or push one out there, rather.
Strike there.
He does not want him to do the same thing, because anything out to right field is going to score Lomax. Got to keep it in left, got to keep it in shallow left, and got to hold Lomax. A ground ball is ideal as well.
3 balls and 1 strike is the count.
And I mean, all 4 pitches have been right inside at the belt of Battle. He's got 1 for a strike. He's got the 3 breaking pieces just missing for a ball.
Ball 4. So after they pick off Gonzalez, a runner returns right back to first base.
And that's okay. Again, I like finally choosing to go low and outside on him there after you kept attacking the hands and kept going in at him. And now, even though you've got a guy on first, you're almost in a better spot, even though there's 1 extra runner here, because a ground ball can end the inning if they can turn 2. So you're not in a bad spot at all if you're Dalma in Minnesota.
Noah Collier, the RBI ground out in the first, which, as you can see, drove in the lone Cincinnati run today. Reds Nike RBI trying to get back into this one. And this is a ground ball. Could be 2. Steiner to second, 1 on to first, and the ball gets away. He's going to be safe. So out at second is the call as the fans voice their displeasure. As Battle is retired at second base. The run comes in to score. RBI fielder's choice for Noah Collier. So it's a 4-2 game here in the bottom of the third.
Yeah, the displeasure is with, they felt that he made a turn for 2, an attempt to advance himself from first base. I think the umpires correctly ruled that he kind of stayed there. I don't think he knew any better.
You can turn, you just can't cross the foul line.
Yeah,
That's the definition of the attempt.
And I think he may have done that.
He didn't. I don't think he crossed the foul line though.
I think he
turned for sure.
Okay,
He
is
just
it a full body cross of the foul line, like, or is it like a step?
It's like you can it's essentially like 1 step. They may call you safe still as long as your other foot is in foul territory. I think it's the second your second foot's in fair territory is when I think you're eligible.
Because I think he might have had, because of the way he was running along the line, I think he may have had 1 foot across, or at least on the white line, but certainly not 2.
From what I've always known it as, I think the interpretation of it is that 1 foot is kind of a gray area of sorts, because you are in fair territory, but at the same time you also are part of foul territory. So it's really, that one is truly umpire's discretion, and that's where truly the attempt is made in. because you can have a foot in fair territory, but if you're not committing to second base, most guys will be called safe. But in that scenario, depending on if he had a foot in it, if they viewed he actually made the turn, it's complicated.
I mean, regardless, if it's a gray area, I think the umpires make the right decisions because you could see it on Collier's body language. He ran straight past, and I don't think he knew that ball had gotten through yet. He didn't look like he knew what was going on.
The only motion he really made is he slightly turned his body to look for the baseball and then return back to first. And that turn happened to be towards the field because he's looking to see where the ball went.
So, again, I think that the motion yielded that he was not looking to go for two. And if he was looking to go for two from there, I'd call him silly because that ball bounced pretty well and he might have been thrown out.
First and second as Sanchez works a walk. And Connor Sitter is now up. The game's tying run here in the bottom of the third now sits on first base.
Yeah. Sitter we obviously saw yesterday with the Little League home run. I think Sanchez might be the most underrated hitter in the lineup. I think Lomax gets his praise in the 9 spot. I think Sitter, obviously with what he did this year and last year, is well known in these parts. Gonzalez does what he does. Battle and Collier are strong bats that pull to opposite field areas. And Sanchez just kind of does what he does, and he's kind of impressive in doing it.
The 0-1 from Dalma. That one just misses. And it hit him. So the bases are now full. And now the tying run moves to second.
Haven't seen Isaiah Hill do a ton through the first 2 games. This would be a big spot for him to make himself known in this tournament.
The infield will come together to talk about the game plan here. There's 2 outs and the bases are loaded, so in theory, Ryan, this seems very simple from a defensive standpoint, no?
Yeah. Closest back. Find it, locate it, step on it or throw to it. It's as easy as that. I think that part of this conversation here is the mental of like, hey guys, let's calm down, we're here, we're going to get out of it, stuff like that. That's what I'd be asking for. Is like if I was the shortstop, I was the captain of the infield, I'd be walking in going, hey, can we talk for a second? We're going to be fine. We're going to get out of this. Bases loaded, nothing we've never seen before. Let's go to work. I think that might be a lot of this conversation, especially with no coaching staff involved. And it's just the guys out there having fun, but certainly from a careful perspective, maybe covering every single one of your gaps and saying, all right, if it goes here, we go here. If it goes here, we go here. If it goes here, we go here. I don't think that was too strategic based on how it didn't take a stupid amount of time.
Meanwhile, Andres Inez will come in and run for Connor Sitter, who was just hit by that pitch. Isaiah Hill with the bases loaded and 2 gone. Takes a breaking ball that skips in and out of the middle. Lensmeyer, play at the plate. He is safe. Wild pitch makes it a 1-run game.
That's the perfect example of what should not have been able to happen there. Minnesota can't give away free runs. This Reds team is so good. They're going to get runs on their own. You can't give them free opportunities to get to that plate, especially when they were in such a good spot defensively, even with the bases loaded.
So Collier scores after reaching on the fielder's choice. The game's tying run, and Sanchez sits just 90 feet away with Sitter right behind him. Or I should say Sitter's runner and Inez. 2-0. Down the middle for a strike.
And now if you're down, now your job is simple. Just get this guy out. Get Isaiah Hill out.
He ain't gonna beat you inside.
Three and one.
Unless the play is imminent, you got to get out of his way.
Conversation going on between the infield ump and
the base runner, Inez, and the shortstop, Walsh.
are they discussing what, visual stuff, like impediments?
I'm guessing so. I mean, Walsh was very visible of his frustration, I think, with the runner, Inez. 3-1 home. Ball 4. Hill works a 5-pitch walk.
I think Walsh's frustration, Inez is taking a very large lead, which I think makes sense for me, but especially with nobody covering the bag, why not? And he's almost getting out as Walsh is starting to approach the type of area where Walsh would be charging in to make a play on a ball if it was a grounder there. And I think he's worried about, hey, if Inez gets in my way, is that going to be interference on his part or not?
Ball 1 to Dalen Jarman.
You thinking middle right side. Now you thinking middle right side.
Inside 2-0.
Hey, we'll take that
2
through.
balls away from the tying run scoring here in inning number 3.
Hey, perfect pitch, perfect swing. Perfect pitch, perfect swing here.
There's the strike. Jarman grounded out back to Dalma in the second inning. A 3-up, 3-down frame for that Twins Nike RBI defense. 2-1. That one hits him, and the game is tied. 4 unanswered runs for Cincinnati Reds Nike RBI, and we're even it out.
Yeah, I don't know where this went for Peter Dalma. He was so good in the second. It turned into a nightmare third for him, and bases are still loaded. And all of a sudden, we're Grimmel getting on back to Lomax, and we already talked about what 9-1-2 means for this team. If Lomax is as good as he can be, and then it's back to Gonzalez, Battle, and even Collier, the third hitter. So it's a really dangerous spot and probably the right time to take the ball away from Peter Dalma.
So Dalma's day is done. A couple of defensive changes will occur. We'll step aside for the pitching change. When you come back, we'll have more information on the new arm for Minnesota. 4-4, don't go anywhere. Ezra Kuznia is the new pitcher for Minnesota Twins Nike RBI, and the first pitch he throws is a breaking ball in the turf. Couple defensive changes. Dalma moves to second base off the mound. Steiner goes from second to left. Jeffrey from left to center to replace Kuznia.
Yeah, Kuznia pitched yesterday, pitched pretty well in relief. Didn't look too bad, didn't throw a lot of pitches. That's why he's able to come back in today and get the job done. So they try and just keep it at 4-4. That's what Minnesota want right now. If it stays tied, they're good. If they fall behind, they won't want that at all.
2-0. There's a strike, the first one that Kuznia has thrown. Grammel is 0 for 1 as he skies his one down the right field line, but it's foul. 2-2 with 2 gone.
Hey, we on contact.
Deuces wild, bottom 3, the pitch. In the dirt, and we go full. Big pitch coming up here from Kuznia. Cincy has a go-ahead run on third with crucial insurance runs on second and first. They go on 3-2. The pitch is grounded hard to the first baseman, Cray, who will take it to the bag and will end the inning. But it's a long, productive inning for Cincinnati. They score 3 and tie up the game through 3. 4-4 here on the Windy City Sports Network. Well, we're in the top of the 4th now, and the game is tied. Captain Later, Ryan Sikora. Ryan, this Minnesota team, a 4 spot in the first inning. But we've got 4 unanswered, and all the momentum belongs to this Reds Nike RBI side. How do they get some of that back?
Yeah, I mean, just get hits, get on base, put the pressure back on Cincinnati, swing and be aggressive like that.
On the second pitch of the inning, Noah Jeffrey, who's bounced around the defense today in all sorts of positions, is now 0 for 2.
And that's still the idea, though, right? Swing at first pitches, be aggressive, try and force the defense to cover gaps. And that's something I think Cincinnati did early. That first inning when they got only the 1 run, they were being aggressive. They just weren't finding all the gaps everywhere. So that's the downside, is if you're swinging and you're putting it in play, sometimes you're just not going to find the open spaces to hit into, and that's just baseball. And right now, if you're Minnesota, all you can do is do what you've done all tournament. Get on the base path. When you get there, snag bags, put the pressure on, and go from there.
Joe Sadowski 0 for 1 as he pops this one to short. Collier goes about 5 steps to make the catch. 2 quick outs here for Roselle in the 4th inning. And you can really feel the momentum teetering towards this Cincinnati side.
It's the problem with being aggressive, right? Is all of a sudden when you need to be aggressive and get some momentum back, all of a sudden you take 4 swings and all 3 of them are outs. And now Cincinnati's got even more more momentum on their side. So you've got to be careful with. I do like it from Minnesota. Keep attacking, keep hoping, and really it's going to come down to what Ezra can do on the hill and what he can do to find a way to get guys out in response to that last inning. He came in, did his job, got them out of the frame, and now it's going to be his mantle to carry these next couple of defensive innings for Minnesota.
Sky in the shallow center. It's Collier arranging to make the play. A quick defensive inning for Roselle and company. We're going to the bottom of the 4th. It's 4-4 here on the Windy City Sports Network. We welcome you back to Curtis Granderson Stadium here in Chicago, Illinois. 4-4, bottom 4. And it'll be the 9 to the top of the order yet again. So the same order as to how the 3rd inning started for Cincinnati. They have that same group coming up in the 4th.
It's a very, very good spot for them. We saw it last inning, right? Like when 9-1-2, if Lomax, the 9-hitter, can get on base, he's got the speed, and then it turns over to Gonzalez, who we know can hit for days, and then it's Battle, then it's Collier, then it's Sanchez, then it's Sitter. It's a perfect set of 6 guys that can cause a lot of problems against any lineup.
Inside for ball 1. Lomax has come up 1 time today, and it was a walk, and he later scored. Part of that 3rd inning that Reds Nike RBI put 3 on. Upstairs, and the count goes to 2-0. Got on a miss there. Lomax frustrated with himself.
He seems a little off this week, at least with the bat. He's a kid who looks the part, though. You look at him, he's a guy who, small batter's box, or small strike zone, real compact swing. Looks twitchy, looks agile, looks fast, but he's struggling to locate the ball when it's coming across the plate. He struggled to find a lot of contact, or at least solid contact this week.
There's a 2-2 count now with no one out. Kuznia wants to start this inning off strong. He retired the first batter he faced. And staying alive is Lomax. I mentioned the twitchiness, though. He just bounces in and out of the batter's box after each and every pitch.
Yeah, again, he appears to be extremely agile, and you see that on the base path and on the defensive side of things.
Curveball he laid off.
And then you add in a good eye as well like that to lay off in a tough pitch, a tough spot to say, no, I'm not going to swing it.
There you go again, no swing, and it's a leadoff walk for Lomax. Deja vu here in the 4th inning. So that'll see the top of the order, and Roybert Gonzalez come back up. Your guy.
2 pitches. That's what I'm going. He's going to look at the first one. He's going to fire away on the second one, get a base hit.
Back to first, and he's safe there.
We love him because he's so aggressive. He took 4 ABs yesterday and 1 in the second game after struggling in the first, and he took it on probably, what, 11 pitches?
If that, yeah.
And I think it was 10 or 11, something like that. He's 2 ABs in today. I think he's taken 4 or 5. Took the first one.
Runner goes for second as this pitch is grounded hard and through past the dive of Kane. Lomax slipped around second, so he has to go back to the bag to avoid being a costly first out on the base paths.
Took the first pitch, knocked the second one for a base hit. It's what you do in those kinds of spots. The leadoff guy, it's a great eye, and he gets the barrel of the bat, drives it low, pushes it through the gap. And now Lomax in scoring position is deadly because Battle's got the ability to drive it to anywhere on the ballpark. He can go right, he can go left and pull it, and if he can't get on, you have the pull power of the lefty Collier that's going to push it out to left anyway, which means Lomax should score with any ball almost out there as long as it's a hit.
Avery Battle watches Kuznia step off. Battle has tripled and walked today.
It's just a really good game plan offensively from Cincinnati.
Lomax being very aggressive off of second base right now.
And you can say, I mean, again, like I just did, the really good game plan stuff, but at some point the game plan comes down to having 6 dudes like that can go 9 through 5.
That one's high, and it's 1-0.
And that's even discounting Hill and Jarman and Grimmel, who are solid players, but I would not consider them the upper echelon anywhere near that in this field of athletes on the batter's side of things. But when you look at 9 in Lomax and then the 1 through 5 guys, it's a really dangerous group of 6 guys, and they've been put together in a certain order that allows them to succeed to their highest power. It's why Cincinnati's been so potent.
It's a 3-ball, 1 strikeout, no one out.
Hey, you want to hit anyway, Avery.
Kuznia sets. Right-hander fires. It's swung on and sent in the air to right field. Sadowski makes the catch. The throw will go into third. It's a good one. And it forces Lomax to hold up at second base. Good first out there for Minnesota.
And it's perfect from Jonas Sadowski as well. Gets underneath it. It's just shallow enough. Battle couldn't lift it 10, 15 more feet. If it's that further, if that's that much further out, Lomax is standing on third. There's runners on the corners, and maybe even on that throw you see Gonzalez head on over to second. You've got 2 guys in scoring spots, but now it's Collier. This is the dangerous one. A base hit to the right side, and Lomax is in to give him the lead.
He's 0 for 2 with an RBI. And takes a fastball for a strike.
And equally as big of an at-bat for Kuznia. If he can get him out, you're only 1 guy away. You're just Manu Sanchez away from getting out of the inning.
Backdoor breaking ball that Ezra Kuznia couldn't get.
And now you can't miss. You can't let a pass ball or a wild pitch come in because Lomax is at third, and then you're a sacrifice fly away from trailing. It's a completely different story.
Popped him up. This could be trouble. It's a base hit. Holding up at third base on the play is Lomax as Steiner barehanded that ball in left field.
And he stops as well. He's in the air. He kind of just twists his body, is able to barehandle, plant in time, and still make a throw. And they hold it. That's really good from Steiner in left. This is a big meeting, and they're going to take the ball off of Kuznia. And I don't disagree with it. You get a new arm in, you're in a jam. We see so many guys like to come in during jams. If you've got the right guy who's got the right mindset for it, you're just a ground ball away from getting out of the inning.
So they will turn now to Eric Kane to pitch. Kane was at third base. He now comes into this one with 1 out in the 4th inning and the bases loaded, and the go-ahead run in this ball game. Senior's 90 feet away as part of that bases loaded jam. So we'll step aside for a brief moment and let Kane complete his warm-up tosses. We'll be back. Don't go anywhere here on the Windy City Sports Network. Welcome back. We're all set to go. First pitch from Eric Kane connects for strike 1. Kane, 5'11", 180 pounds from St. Agnes, class of 2024. He's in relief of Kuznia, who threw 2/3 of an inning across 2 different frames. He needs 2 outs here. And the only problem is the run that would put his team behind sits on third base.
Yeah, they've only got to get a ground ball, though, to get out of it. Double play can close it out. They made a change in left field as well, Minnesota. I'd imagine that's to get a stronger arm out there, see if they can hold or throw out Lomax.
Line drive, base hit left center. Lomax in to score. Gonzalez being waved around. He'll score easily. RBI double Manuel Sanchez. 6-4 Cincinnati.
Big inning right here.
That was perfect. Absolutely perfect from Manu Sanchez, who's now got a couple of big hits in this one. RBI double, drive in Gonzalez, drive in Lomax. Great piece of hitting. He crowds the box because he knows he wants to pull it there. He lines it in just out of the reach of the shortstop.
Connor Sitter takes strike 1.
And now this is difficult for Kane because he's now in a completely different situation than he inherited. He's in a brand new spot. He's got to figure out now how to change the way he was going to attack guys. And now it's about damage limitation. There's no double play ball available.
This is to right center. That's a base hit. In the scores, Collier. Sanchez being waved around. The front of the plate's cut off by Cray. 8-4 now, Reds Nike RBI.
And we're seeing Cincinnati. We're seeing how dangerous they are. We're seeing 9 through 5 connect, and they have got so much work in those 6 guys. It's hard to survive for any pitcher at this level. And I think regardless, I'll say it now, regardless of whether Minnesota come back in this game in the next 3 innings or not, Cincinnati are the second best team in this tournament, presuming White Sox ace is the best. Presuming that. They might even be the best. They are the best we have seen over these last 2 days. They hit for power. They hit for contact. They've got solid pitching. They play good defense. They've got enough runners to survive, but they move the line. Guy after guy gets a base hit or an extra base hit. They don't have what Minnesota has in terms of the pesky guys that just get on and steal every time. That's not how they play. They play their game, and they just move it around like a big red machine would.
1-1. This ball smoked down to deep right field. Long run for Shirley. Backpedals, makes the catch. And it's a long, and I mean long, second out. That was a couple of feet in front of the warning track out there in right field.
It's probably what? If it's 377 to right, it was probably 325.
I'd give it
340.
350. I'd give it 350 almost.
Maybe. It was a shot. It was loud and opposite field.
Strike one, taken by Jarman.
And now you're in the portion of the lineup with Hill, Jarman, and Gremel that you've got to get out of here if you're Kane. No excuses.
On one hop to second base, and that will conclude the inning. But it's not before Reds Nike RBI expand their lead 8-4 through 4. Top of 5, and it's 8-4 in favor of Cincinnati Reds Nike RBI. First pitch strike there, taken by James Steiner. 0-2 quickly. Steiner represents the top of the order. This is his first at-bat of the game after Meyer started off 0 for 2 of 2 Ks. He just gets a piece of it to avoid making it 3 in the number 1 spot on the lineup card. Oh-2. Ground ball, right side. Lomax ranges. Nice play, but it's dropped by Hill at first base.
And I was just about to ask, as soon as that ball was collected by Hill, where's Minnesota going to find the at-bats? Where are they going to find the guys to get hits? And that's very similar to the first inning for the Twins. They weren't necessarily the best at hitting, but they were very good at putting it in play, watching Cincinnati make mistakes, and they were getting walks, right? So when they get on the path, they are so aggressive, so quick. So when you let the Twins get on, that's when you have problems, because you put your pitcher under pressure and you let them get the chance to get into their groove with stealing bases.
Runner goes, that ball's caught, and this will be a double play as Sanchez will fire it back to Hill to double off Steiner, who was running on the pitch.
And they tried the good old hit and run, and they got the hit, but it went right to some guy at third. And they got the run, But that guy, because the guy got it at third, is out in a double play. I mean, it happens. Like, that's what we were talking about a couple of innings ago with finding the gaps. And that's a great baseball idea there, and it was a well-struck ball off the bat, but there was no gap. He hit it right to the guy, right where he stood, and the runner was already gone, and it's an easy 1-2 double play. It's a little disappointing, I think, if you're Minnesota, but you executed it perfectly.
Aiden Walsh looks to be that rally starter as that pitch is in the dirt.
And he has been most of this tournament, Walsh. Obviously the walk-off. He was great in game 2 on the bump.
He squares the bunt with 2 outs and he pulls it back.
I don't get it either. I don't know why. I don't understand the bunt with 2 outs, unless he was always going to chop it away. Just doesn't make sense.
Ball 4, that's a hard 90 for him.
All right. Leadoff runner. Or finally, a runner on.
Leadoff man was on this inning, to your point.
That's a good point. They did have that, too. You know, there's why the confusion pops up. You know, I'm stuck in the past. I'm not looking forward to the present or the future. That's big, though. Walsh gets on. He's a threat to steal both bases. And if Craig can get a hit, there's a run or 2 in this inning for Minnesota.
That ball's away. Yeah, it's a 1-0 count. James Cray is the hitter. 0 for 1. He was hit by a pitch in the first inning. He later came around to score. Roselle still on the bump for Cincinnati. Top 5. And it's a 1-1 count. Reds, Nike RBI have scored 8 unanswered.
I can only count that on 2 hands.
That's a foul ball, and so Walsh will have to return to first base.
That's unfortunate for Walsh, who had a great jump, would have gotten there, swing or not, and Craig gets just enough of a piece of it to force him to go all the way back to first. It's a big pitch. Craig's got to find a way to put this ball in play, or at least fight it off.
Hill got his body in front of it.
You're good,
And Walsh is dancing off the bag. That's fun.
I think he's trying to speed Hill up and say, hey, next time you do that, I'm going to force you to throw over there and watch and see if you make a mistake.
That's a wild pitch. I think it hit the front of home plate. And so Walsh will advance in a scoring position.
It hit, and I had the perfect view of it because I'm looking right down the left-handed batter's box. It hit the front of the left-handed batter's box. It was way far away, way short. Grimmel behind the dish had no chance at that one.
Walsh on his way for third, the 2-2, down and away, an easy 90 feet there for Aiden Walsh.
And that's what he does. You let him on the path. He's so advantageous. Whether he steals 2 or you give him 2 for free, he's getting to 3. He's getting to the third base.
Full count, 2 away. Twins, Nike RBI just looking for anything to get some momentum back. Ball 4, wild pitch. Now there's going to be a play at the plate. Walsh is tagged out. A bad break there as the ball carried right back to Grimmel at the plate, who tagged Walsh, who was oncoming.
And that one felt like Minnesota made a mistake. We haven't seen them make a ton on the base path this tournament, almost at all, and Walsh got greedy, thought he could get going. The ball bounced perfectly for Grimmel, the catcher. Walsh just ran before he even saw it bounce back. He didn't get his head up, and when he looked up, Grimmel was right in front of him, and they had a standoff, and that's unfortunate for Minnesota. Cincinnati get a lucky bounce again, and they've had a lot of lucky bounces today, but they're playing good baseball.
They certainly are. They're up by 4 as we go to the bottom of the 5th. back, bottom 5. And a strike there to Evan Grammel, who made a defensive play to prevent Minnesota from getting a run to end the top half of this inning. This one's tapped off of third for a foul ball. And that Grammel play was certainly something interesting with Walsh coming to the plate.
Yeah, I was a little disappointed in Walsh, who's been one of my favorite players to watch this tournament. I think he's got to wait there. He's got to wait to see where that ball bounces off the backstop.
This is the second base. And that play is made by Dauma for the first out.
It's just in those moments when you kind of need to save every out, every run for the big spot, the right spot. For Walsh, he saw the wild pitch, he saw it get past, and he just tried to go because he thought, oh well, this is a free run, and it took the perfect bounce off the backstop for Grammel, and Walsh just got caught out.
Set on the ground, charging at third and making the play for the second out of the inning.
And this is nice for Kane to work quickly, and they finally get Lomax out. So we're somehow in 3 straight innings, pretty much rinse and repeat 9-1-2. I mean, we start 8-9-1 in this one, but gets back to Gonzalez for the 3rd straight frame, and he's had a lot of success today. I'm going 1 pitch.
That one misses the corner. Well, that was Steiner who made the play at third base there. He's really bounced around the entire field today defensively.
He's moved everywhere. He's right field, started at second, has moved to left for a little while, moved now to third. Has he been anywhere else? Was he in center at any point?
No, but this is all while he's come off the bench too, which is what's even more incredible about it.
You sure?
He came in to replace.
I thought he started. Jeffrey started at second.
He came in to replace Myers back in the bottom of the 3rd inning.
That's right, because he came in early because Myers took his 1AB and then was out. That's right. Good catch, good catch.
Meanwhile, it's a 3-0 count to Roybert Gonzalez. This is the most pitches he's seen in at bat today.
Maybe all tournament? Well, at least since the first game.
We'll get another one here as that one's down the middle.
So this is a 5-pitch AB for Gonzalez. So the over hit today. That's too bad.
The line was what, 4.5? Right back where it came from on the ground for a base hit. Gonzalez is aboard for the 2nd time in a row. 3rd time overall, 3 singles for him.
Yeah, he's been really good today. When you're getting production from your leadoff guy, that's a recipe for success. Went right through the 5-hole at Kane. Not only did it go right back up the middle where it came, but it goes right through the legs, a tweener.
You're a soccer guy, that's a nutmeg, right?
Something like that. We use American speak on the American pastime game.
Avery Battle comes up.
It's true.
You're not wrong. Battle this morning, 1 for 2. And pops out of play.
He's battled today. With him and with Sitter, I think they're the pun team.
I like what you did there. That was a good one. That was a good one.
Thanks, man.
You're welcome.
I appreciate you.
Battle takes that one downstairs, and it's 1-1.
I wonder if you asked the guys on the team who the strongest guy was, if they'd say Battle. I think he's got such a great swing of the bat to fire it through.
Hit hard to second. Walsh flips it to Dauma, and the inning comes to a close. So the Reds are shut out for the first time since the 2nd inning. And we are through 5 here on the Windy City Sports Network. First pitch swinging. We barely got back from our commercial break as Kane is out number 1 here in the 6th inning.
No courtesy from Eric Kane. Like, what are we doing, guys?
I couldn't take one pitch.
Like, can't the people recognize that Kevin Malater is the entire reason that this is happening here today, you know? And that we should revolve around you?
No.
That's the aggression I want to see from Minnesota. Keep going after it. Keep trying to find your way early in some ABs and swing away.
There's a base hit. That's off the bat of Ezra Kuznia. And a one-out base runner there for Minnesota. So just like you said, hit him hard, get him through.
You know, I thought you forgot what I said there, and I wasn't going to finish your sentence, and I was just going to leave it at that. But again, Kuznia gets on, he stays aggressive, finds a way through a gap, which we haven't seen him do the last couple of innings. Minnesota stayed consistent at the plate. It's just Cincinnati have been that much better at covering up all their holes.
Nothing in 1 is the count.
Tell you, if you told me Roselle would still be here this late into the game, I'd be very surprised.
After the way it started, yeah, I'd agree with you on that.
4 runs in the first, and it was kind of a shaky second, and he's been shaky in each and every single inning, but it's never really truly looked disastrous since that first inning.
This is sent down the line to the opposite field. Could be trouble, and it's a base hit. Cutting it off his battle down the line, and it's 1st and 2nd here for Minnesota.
Yeah, that was one of those that Avery Battle did have to be careful about. He was moving to his right, away from his glove hand, and that ball was trailing away from him as well, so he had to be careful of the bounce. He had to be careful not to overshoot it with how slow it was going to bounce and how slow it was going to move. And it's one of those where if it dropped, it was always going to be a base knock.
Hey, keep dealing, Cam. Keep dealing.
So 2 on, 1 out, and this is Will Shirley. Ground ball out there by Roselle to first. And there's 2 gone.
Shirley does his job. It's too bad that wasn't the first out of the inning, but he gets both runners into scoring spots. But now, if you're Minnesota, I get it, it's 2 outs, so it's always a rough spot even with 2 guys in scoring position. You got to drive in a run or 2 here. You're running out of time. Running out of innings, running out of outs.
Lock that. Box that up.
Ball 1 to Lensmeyer. Both runners advanced on the play. This is flipped down the right field line, sinking, base hit. 1 run in, they're gonna try it with Jeffrey. The throw is up the line. And just like that, it's a 2-run game. 2 RBI single for Alex Lensmeyer here in the top of the 6th inning.
That's the perfect hit. Right down the line, right to the opposite field on the right side. And let the guy go chase. That's where you want to be. The right side of this outfield is perfect because 2 guys are going to go and score. It's fantastic from the Twins, and now they've got some support. They've got some momentum back. They're trying to figure it out. Can they keep Pepper and Roselle while he's out there?
He gets the bunt down. Clough play, and Steiner is out at first base. Roselle got to it, but Minnesota, they get 2 back in the frame, and we go to the bottom of the 6th inning. It's 8-6 here on the Windy City Sports Network. So Minnesota got 2 back, and now it's Cincinnati's turn. We'll see if they respond, and how do they respond? And that'll be the question. We look for an answer here in the bottom of the 6th inning in the 2023 MLB Nike RBI Central Regional Tournament. The final 2-0 teams on display right now. One team will have a 1 in the loss column in a little bit.
And we've been talking all week about the importance of games.
In foul territory, 3 guys come together, and it's the pitcher, Kane, who makes the catch. That's a interesting decision there. But I guess either way, Twins Nike RBI will take it.
Yeah, I don't have any really reasoning to question the decision because he caught it. I mean, obviously we can always question the communication, and I think there wasn't enough of it there, but good on Kane to make the play. We've been talking about which game is the most important all week, and we talked a little bit how I think it's the first one, set the tone. You think it might be the second one to get yourself over the hump. And the answer, if you ask any coach which game is the most important one, you get one of 2 answers. If you're asking them during the game, it's this game, and if you ask them after the game, it's the next game.
Yep.
So right now, this has been the case of this tournament. Really, it has truly hit that section where the game that matters is the game in front of you, and it's the next game that matters the most, and after this game. So for Minnesota and for Cincinnati right now, at 2 teams that are at 2-0, that got the first game right, that got the second game right.
This is flipped down the right field line. Long run, that's a base hit. It drops in front of Shirley. Runner going for second. The throw from right is not in time. And so Sanchez has yet another double in this game. That's his 3rd double of the game, Ryan.
Yeah, he's been the player of the day so far. As much as we've gotten a lot of great stuff from a lot of great guys in this Reds lineup, Manu Sanchez has picked up the pieces every single time and found a way. But yeah, now we've got 2 teams that did their job in Game 1 and Game 2. So this Game 3 is the most important game for them because this pretty much locks up a spot in the top 4 for pool play. Gives them a real chance at making it to a championship game. And for Minnesota, that seems shocking. For Cincinnati, when we were talking to them yesterday morning, we didn't get the sense that this team was as good as the team last year.
Line drive, left field, base hit, drops in front of Steiner. Runner coming home, he scores 9-6. Reds Nike RBI get one back on the RBI single from Connor Sitter.
As always, Sitter shows up. And that's big run support for that ultimate goal, right? We thought Cincinnati coming into this tournament, when we talked to them yesterday morning, we didn't get the vibe that this team was as good as last year's group. They said they were a little bit different, a little bit younger, a little bit newer, and they didn't start very well against Kansas City, a team who wasn't very good in 2022, and that was kind of interesting, right, is that this is a Cincinnati team that started really slow. They couldn't get a lot going early, and now all of a sudden, they've come alive. They've figured things out, and they look like the best team we've certainly seen at Granderson over the last 2 days, and that's really neat that this 3rd game means the most, and Cincinnati have found a way from 4-0 down to eventually go on 8 unanswered runs, and then 2 more from Minnesota. They've responded with a run of their own to keep those insurance runs coming, which every step of the way now is important.
So this will be a pinch hitter here. This will be Alex Smith to hit for Isaiah Hill. And he walks on 4 pitches.
Come on, David.
So the pinch hitter
Hey, get your
is
pitch.
productive.
Get
And
your pitch. Don't miss your pitch.
they're still only 1 away, and the Reds are threatening to add more, and this could be all for Kane. We will wait and see.
It's a much smaller meeting. I think it's just a pep talk.
The only activity right now is in the Cincinnati bullpen, which is out in deep left center field. Double hands on the shoulders of Kane right now, trying to calm him down. He's got that double play ball back into effect, Ryan. Sitter on second. Alex Smith is on first. And here's Dalen Jarman. He had the RBI hit by pitch back in the 3rd inning. Opportunity to put this ball game away and in the favor of Reds. Nike RBI, and first Kane will step off. First pitch. Ground ball hit hard, backhanded by Walsh. The second for one on to first, not in time, as Jarman beats it out on the fielder's choice.
And more importantly, Cray stops it at first base. He might not have been able to get the out, but if that got through his glove, another run is scoring. Sitter's coming home. And now you're only out away. It's still 9-6. You're still within reach. You're still in the same spot. You've only got 3 outs to find 3 runs at the top of this inning. But it's better to have 3 outs to find 3 runs than it is to have 3 outs to find 4 or 5.
Skipped it in there, and it's a ball in the count.
And this is the biggest at-bat of the game, not only because it obviously is, but this is Grimmel. This is your last chance, because Lomax is up next. He's the 9 guy, and then it flips back to the top.
Jarman breaks, and they don't even pleasure him with a throw.
Don't worry about it. Let him go. Let him be there. Again, Grimmel is your last chance. He's a guy who's struggled to hit all tournament. Get him out. Get out of this inning. This is the stopgap for every system here.
Line drive, base hit, center field. Steiner in. Jarman being waved around. He scores. 2 RBI, single Evan Grimmel. And Reds Nike RBI busted open here in the 6th.
And there's that. How about a guy who hasn't really been too successful at the plate in this tournament? He shows up. 2 RBI, single, and there's the insurance, and that might just put Minnesota to bed, Cav.
An offensive explosion today. It's 11-6. They have scored in the ball game 11 of the last 13 overall runs scored. At one point, it was 8 unanswered.
Feels pretty similar to what they did against Kansas City. Took them a second to get started, but once they got a little bit of success, they found a lot of success.
Pass ball charged to Lensmeyer. Three outs away from victory is Cincinnati.
Maybe still more to add on the offensive side of things.
There's a strike, and it's 1-1.
If you were Cincinnati, you walked into this inning 8-6 lead. You felt comfortable. You felt confident, perhaps more importantly. Now you feel confident and very comfortable with your 5-run lead.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Lomax walked and scored his first 2 trips today. Two and two.
We talked about how bouncy, how agile, how good he looks on the base path. It translates to the box. He's got a real compact swing, a small strike zone. Add a great eye to that, which when you couple that with a smaller strike zone, you're a deadly guy to pitch against at the plate.
Tipped it into the mitt there of Lensmeyer to end the frame. So it's 11-6. Cincinnati 3 outs away from going to 3-0. Stay with us here on the Windy City Sports Network. The top of the 7th is underway with a ball. And so the first pitch is grounded hard. A diving shot made it. Sanchez at third. Long throw to first, and he throws it away. So safe there is Dalma on what we presume to be an infield single to start the 7th inning.
Yeah, it's a tough play to make for Sanchez, so I'd give him a single. That sidewall over there is bouncing. I don't know if we've seen a throw that's been thrown over the head of somebody, not bounce immediately back almost into play.
Walsh with the runner on first. Reached on an error and scored in the first, singled in the third, walked in the 5th, and was later cut down trying to take home plate on a wild pitch.
It's a heck of a day at the office.
Plus a couple of good plays defensively as the first pitch he sees is a ball out in the outside corner.
These two can hurt you, Cam. Go right at them. Go right at them. They can't hurt you.
Walsh trying to spark a rally. As time is called.
Hey, next time throw it anyway. Don't hurt yourself. Still throwing it.
All right, Aiden, you got this.
2-0.
And we'll say, we've been talking about it, right? We think Cincinnati's in a very comfortable, confident spot. If there's any team that we've seen in this tournament that's going to overturn that, it'd be Minnesota. The grittiest, gutsiest group we've seen so far here in Chicago.
A reminder to you as this pitching change goes on, that coming up next year on WCSN, approximately 2:30 Eastern, 1:30 Central. We'll have Detroit Tigers Nike RBI and the Chicago White Sox Nike RBI. Ryan, your chance to see the White Sox for the first time in person. You saw the brief moment of the Tigers last night. Tigers looking to bounce back. They're 0-2. Meanwhile, White Sox at 1-0-1.
Yeah, Tigers, 2 tough losses to take. Back-to-back games, kind of like Indianapolis today, right? They had the 2 games back-to-back tough losses to swallow, and we saw Indy this morning bounce back in a big way. Maybe Detroit can do that.
So Aiden Walsh is ready to go. It's a 2-ball count. Walsh is squaring the bunt here. Pulls it back, but it's a strike.
Come on, Blue. It's like a foot offside. All day.
Dalma, the runner on first. He goes as the 2-1 is in the dirt. The throwdown from second is skipped in there, is a friendly term for that one.
Hey, don't worry about the base runner. Go at the batter. That runner can't hurt you. The runner cannot hurt you.
3 balls, 2 strikes, or 2-2, excuse me. Or no, it was a full count pitch. And that's going to be all for Roselle. He's pitched a beauty.
Yeah, 6 innings, but at times it got away from him. I think anybody can admit that. He looked shaky, certainly in the first. He looked a little bit shaky in the 6th. He's looked shaky here, so it's all about finding the right arm to go to. That's the biggest thing. Can you find the right guy to come in and make that move?
And so they will go to the bullpen. They call on Gonzalez from center field to pitch. We'll step aside for a moment. 11-6 is the score here on WCSN. It's 11-6 with no one out here in the top of the 7th, and it's going to be Roybert Gonzalez into pitch. He's in from center field, his first offering. Here's a strike to James Cray. Other defensive changes, Jarman will replace Gonzalez in center field. Nate Lomax moves from second base to right field to replace Jarman, and Connor Sitter will come into play second base, so the DH is gone. Everyone's gonna hit from themselves from now on.
Yeah, I'm surprised that it's Lomax moving into the outfield. I understand that I think with Jarman moving into center, you want a guy who's a little quicker, can cover some more ground out and right, so it makes a little more sense. Lomax has been so in sync with Collier in the middle of the infield, and for Gonzalez, throw strikes. How deep does this Red staff go? If it doesn't go any deeper, then they might be in trouble with 2 guys on and nobody out.
That is popped up foul, so it's a 2-2 count.
Like, again, imagine this, right? 11-6 lead, you give yourself 3 runs of insurance in the bottom of the 6th, only to have run out of arms. That'd be kind of crazy. Gonzalez seems capable, but is he good enough to deny 5 guys from crossing home plate? We'll see.
Not to mention they also will have another game tonight. Opponent TBA.
You expect them to at least.
Hey, now you refocus, Roy. You refocus.
Like later tonight, I'm saying.
Yeah.
We'll see if that's here.
They're 3 outs away from officially being the sole possessors of first place, not only in their pool, but in the division. And he gets a looking strikeout of Cray to start his time on the bump.
That's disappointing for Cray, who had a 2-1 advantage and watched 2 pitches go right by him. It's another strikeout looking.
Eric Kane, the pitcher, is 0 for 3 with a reach on an error. That's a strike.
Fastball's pretty good.
Let's go. Come on. Keep going straight.
No balls, 1 strike. The pitch home. Curveball, never really got that drop he wanted.
Hey, until they hit that number 1. Until they hit it. Hey, get the range there first. Get the range. Bring at him, Roy. Too much, Connor.
2-1. A little bit high. And it's a 3-1 count. He does have a base open, but the goal is obviously to try to induce a ground ball here, correct?
Yep, double play away. 3-0, first place by yourself.
That one hit him. And so they're loaded here in the top of the 7th inning.
A little bit of a back and forth between Kane and Gonzalez. I don't know if it was an unfriendly back and forth. It seemed to be civil and polite, but it's still there, and bases loaded. That ground ball thing still stands. It's now even more likely.
Double play depth up the middle. The corners play at normal positioning. As that one is taken down low. Ezra Kuznia had the single and scored last inning. He's got 2 hits on the day, including an RBI that came back in the first. 1-0. Strike there, 1-1.
That's a good frame drop by Grimmel. Looked a little bit low. He brought it up in one seamless motion, made it work.
1-1. That's up the middle, off his backside. Gonzalez to the plate there, and that's all they will get.
That is heads up from Roy Gonzalez. The athleticism, the awareness, the hand-eye coordination to go down, go get it while you're on your backside, and then the heads-upness. Hey, I'm going to go home with this. I don't have to do something stupid here. The way I face is the way I want to go, and he gets the lead runner in the process.
Inside, and almost hit Noah Jeffrey.
He throws hard. And I don't mean like the ball goes fast. I mean he physically throws hard.
Yeah.
I think the pitcher for the Tigers last night was kind of like that.
His motion is very violent.
Yeah, the Tigers pitcher, it looked like every other pitch was I'm going to throw the crap out of this and my hat's going to fall off. Gonzalez in a very similar mold. His hat much more stable to his head.
Two one.
Let's go! Let's go, boy! You ready?
3 balls and a strike. Now he's in threat of walking in a run.
Hey, here we go! Here we go, Manny! Here we go, Noah!
Go, Noah.
They're still an out away. And Gonzalez will step off. This will be the last inning as we've reached the time limit now. Yes, here's the 3-1. Popped him up, and now they're a strike away.
All right, battle, Noah, battle. Come on, Noah.
Here comes the 3-2, runners go. Ball 4, and a run comes back for Minnesota.
And the tying run goes to the plate.
It is 11-7 now.
Come on, Wyatt. No one better, no one better.
Hey, that's good. I didn't hurt
All
you
runners
either.
will advance.
Go right at him. Come on,
Second
brother.
RBI, by the
Good
way, for
work.
Jeffrey
Good
today.
you.
First pitch swinging and popping at foul is Will Shirley. Shirley grounded out to the mound his lone trip to the
Hey,
plate
right
today.
Side, be ready. Right side, be ready.
Come on, Wyatt. Drive it, drive it.
See a swing. See a swing. Read the swing. Lean up, lean up. He laid his hands down and tried to drag him through. Come on here. Come on, Connor. Feel the ground ball. Throw him out.
Outside corner, strike 2, another strike away.
That's a good pitch from Gonzalez. The throw back to him got away.
Come on, Wyatt.
And Collier gave some direction to Grimmel, who said, hey, man, be careful. Dial up your best pitch. Doesn't matter. Don't worry about the runners. Just take aim.
They're still loaded as the 0-2 comes home. Line and caught by Gonzalez, and that'll do it. Cincinnati Reds Nike RBI go to 3-0 on the weekend. An offensive explosion throughout the course of this one to win it by a score of 11-6.
Which is the kid from Florida? Which is the kid from Florida?
It was really good from Cincinnati. Not at the start. They got behind early, just like they did yesterday morning. But, gosh, when that offense wants to get going and can turn it on, can get aggressive, can find gaps, they're so good. That 9 through 5 is really deadly, can win them any game in this tournament. A fantastic 3-0 start for the Reds Nike RBI Club. For Minnesota, we asked ourselves yesterday, we asked ourselves this morning, when's that luck going to run out? When's that good run of form going to run out? When are they going to go back to last year's team? They didn't today, even despite the loss. They looked the part of a contender. They just ran into a big red machine that's so good, and I think we'll see Minnesota again in this tournament. I think they've got a chance to really put their name out there and put themselves on a platform for success if they do it right.
So the Reds now have first place not only in the pool but in the entire division overall on the 18U baseball side. Minnesota collects their first loss, but still a close one. Only problem is, though, their runs allowed total just dramatically increased.
Yeah, they have the runs for because of the game against Kansas City, but the first tiebreaker is runs allowed, so that's the biggest thing for them. And again, they've got one more game. We'll see how it develops. We'll see where they are, and we'll see if they can get to 3-1 and put themselves in a position to be that next team in. We saw last year that Sox Ace were undefeated. They got in, and the next team in was 3-1. So there's still a chance for you if you're Minnesota. You're still very much alive in this tournament. You're chasing Kansas City, and we'll see. Sox Ace and Detroit are up next. It's a good look at maybe another team who's another contender. We just saw what the Reds can do. see there's more on tap.
You're exactly right. So approximately a half hour from now, we'll have some Tigers and White Sox 18U baseball for you here as part of the Nike RBI Central Regional Tournament. 2 games down today. We still got 4 left. Stay with us. We got baseball for breakfast. We're having it for lunch, and you're going to get it for dinner as well. He's Ryan Sikora. I'm Kevin Malater. We'll talk to you soon for Tigers and White Sox here on the Windy City Sports Network.